Hello, Vanakkam, Vandanam, Namaste. This is Ashwin Subramaniam and welcome to the Ashwin's Discourse by MyG Podcast. It is always said that a God's presence can truly impact a human's life, especially in a very positive way. If this is true, why didn't Mata Kaikeyi or Manthara from Ramayana had a positive impact in their life? Because they turned towards evilness, sending Ram into Vanvas. So, I am joined with Prof. VKJ to get answer to this question. Hi, sir.
Hi. So, your question is, it is very deep. Okay. Only goodness should prevail where God is.
Yeah.
Evil cannot prevail where God is.
That's why it's called Rajya.
Okay. So, how come even after, having Ram in the palace, the presence of Ram, the goodness, the embodiment of goodness, the embodiment of all divinity and power, the embodiment of truth, how come this happens? How come Kaikeyi mind gets corrupted?
Yeah.
Right? So that is the thing. Now, if you look at this situation, technically speaking, Rajyam has not yet started. Okay, Dasaratha is still the emperor.
King, yeah.
Emperor. So, Ram Raj has not yet started. It is about to start after the Pattabhishekam, but before that, this obstacle happens. Okay. Now, the nature of God, the nature of goodness, this is actually a rocking question. So, we need to watch what I'm going to say very carefully.
Sure, sir.
Okay. Because this is what the flow says. In the middle of the goodness, okay, there can always be a possibility for a seed for the opposite of goodness. So, sometimes it is the heavens, but in the middle of all the heavens, in the middle of Devaloka, sometimes the Devendra, who is in the middle of Devaloka, in the middle of
King of Devaloka,
he might get a misadventurous thought. So, now, why does this happen? Let's look at why this happened. Now, God or goodness as an avatar or as prevailing in the universe, as I mentioned in the earlier podcast also,
yes, sir,
a Laissez-Faire policy is followed. He gives a Laissez-Faire policy, which means will interfere only when there is an absolute need. Otherwise, the freedom to choose, the freedom to think, the freedom to act is left to one's own individual mindset or individual consciousness. So, even though Kaikeyi asks for that, deep within her consciousness, she does feel that whether she is making an error, but she hopes that it is not an error because she thinks that her son Bharata will come and indicate her or validate whatever she has done. Her doubt gets confirmed when Bharata declines that and shouts at her. As far as Mandira, that Guni, how we call in Tamil, she is supposed to do that because there is a divine equation that the demon king, Ravana, has to be vanquished. Because if you look into the past stories, Ravana and Kumbhakarna were earlier part of the Vaikunta security guards, who out of a curse decided to take 7 or a few births so that they can fight the Lord and come back to Vaikunta.
Jai Vijay.
Yes. Okay. Now, over here, that vanquishing has to happen. So, somewhere, some error has to happen. Now, I'll give another analogy, which can be a little bit scientific.
Yes, sir.
When everything is so perfect, things can collapse. When everything is so perfect, no error, a structure can collapse.
Why?
I'll give an example. Now, imagine a battalion of soldiers walking on a wooden bridge. Okay. So, when soldiers march left, right, and if the resonation of their sound and the boots, if it all is in a perfect sync, even a bridge can collapse. You can ask any person who has been in the army. Okay. Why? Because if the frequency of the boot marching matches with the frequency of the bridge, somewhere at any weak point it can crack and collapse. So what they do, they will ask for wrong foot, or they'll say galat, do a galat. That means they will break their rhythm.
Pattern. Oh.
So 2, 3, they will break their pattern, and the pattern will not be there. They'll say break the pattern as you cross the bridge. So this is there in army. That means when everything is too perfect, you need to keep very alert. And a little bit of a scope creep or a little bit of a error is good. Some little error is good, because this is in another podcast we had, I think we didn't do it, but it was a Tamil podcast, 11. I said there's an elevation. Yeah. 1 and 1 juxtapositioned, but 1 crosses 10, but that 1 is the elevation. So that means the elevation to do something, which means the opposite of this also can be told. When everything is so imperfect, going really bad, totally bad, there'll be some spark of goodness over there. So this is also signified and told by the law of the Tao, T-A-O, Tao. So Tao, you will notice that this is the image, the dark, yin and yang. So when yang becomes maximum, it will have the seed for the yin. And when yin becomes maximum, it will have the seed for the yang.
Yes, sir.
So here Kaikeyi's point, Kaikeyi is getting, brainwashed by Mandara or Guni. And she demanding that and asking Dasaratha to banish Ram. Is that seed of the opposite of goodness. Yeah. Which Rama or Ram, Shreeram or his father, they gladly accept it. So a yogi, or one who is into the spiritual path, or a businessman, a student, anybody, a housewife, anybody, when you find everything is perfect, but there's some light speck of imperfection or something bad, be in the flow and take it. So that if you identify that in time, you can continue with the goodness. Yeah. Which is what happens. Eventually, it turns, it goes, and the Vanavasam happens, and then again Pattabhishekam is done, and then it comes. So the cycle is shown.
Yes, sir. So here Manthara is the catalyst, which is meant to make sure that event is happening. So
even though Rama is very close, God is there, Avatar is there, Almighty is there, everything is there, that the seed happens of the opposite. Because there's a laissez-faire policy. God does not control. God does not say you should conspire against me. That is what Paradise Lost, John Milton's Paradise Lost.
Yes, sir.
The fallen angel. So the angel, Satan, he fights against God. He conspires. Yeah. So God doesn't stop the conspiracy. God says, okay, fine, battle. That's your choice.
So why didn't Ravana awaken his goodness?
Ravana is a great character. He has a lot of goodness. In fact, in the words of Hanuman, when Hanuman first sees Ravana top to bottom, in the there he Sabha. Feels, Sabha, he feels this Ravana is worth the worship of sages. Ravana, the greatness of Ravana, even Hanuman, he says he's worth the worship of sages. Except for this one egoistic quality. That ego of what is this? This guy is after all a mortal. That ahankara, his ahankara, I am this. Except for that one quality, he's worth the worship of sages. So he tries to counsel him. And then Ravana closes his ears.
Yes, sir.
So Ravana cannot change because there's a destiny by his own promise. Where he has in the earlier thing, would you fight the Lord and come back? Or would you take 1,000 births? So he himself, Ravana and his brother, in their earlier versions in the Vaikunta, they themselves have decided to fight the Lord and come back. So they are bound by their own vachan, their own word they are bound by.
Yes, sir.
So although they may not remember in the particular incarnations what they take, in the births that they take, they will not remember that, but that is what happens. Haven't all of us wondered, why did I behave in this way? Have you ever wondered, why did I say that? Why did I behave in this way?
Yeah.
So is it because that person, this person? No, but we do not know our Kalachakra, we do not know our karma. Everyone says Sahasrara is here. The Sahasrara chakra is here, we say, but no, there's a real chakra which is above. It is in the other astral plane. So that is actually, it takes care of your karma, your sanchita karma, not
So
even
Sahasra Chakra, Kal Chakra?
No. The Kal Chakra is total. That it is the sigma of sigmas, sambonam.
Yeah.
But your Sahasrara is the gateway. It is the portal to your karma. It is your karma vinay, which means it is the portal to your sanchita karma.
Yes,
your
sir.
prarabdha is working over here. So sanchita includes the prarabdha also, but sanchita is the sambonam of all from the earlier births up to now.
Got it, sir. And it's also fascinating to know that in both the scenarios of good turning into evil and evil turning into good.
No, I will make a small correction. It is not good turning to evil. It is the seed of evil within the goodness. Okay, I give it to you, Ashwin. Okay, I give it. It's something like you have milk and then I put a drop of curd. It will curdle. Yes, okay, fine.
Got it, sir. So, in both the scenarios, it's common that ego can be considered as that seed. Because Manthara twisted Kaikeyi Mata's ego that you will lose your place in this kingdom. If Rama comes, only the other Ranis will get the equal respect. Bharata will be losing his position.
No, she plays the role like Iago in Shakespeare, or like Shakuni.
Yeah.
So here there is a Guni, there's a Shakuni. Okay. So no, I did I interrupt your question? Yeah.
In the same way, in Ravana's case also, just like you mentioned right now, it is his ego which making him do the wrong things.
Is fanned by Surpanaga and another one minister. They fan his ego. Yeah.
So, can we say the seed as ego? Because the moment we say ego, from your explanation, we are edging God out of our lives.
So, you want to call the seed as ego.
Yeah.
If you do that, the seed is something that comes from outside within. But the ego of an individual is something that is within. There is something that is within which shakes hands with something that comes from outside. So if you look at an influence like, Guni influencing someone, influencing Kaikeyi. So into Kaikeyi, from outside to her, into her, this thought is planted. So what
it's
is
some kind of external force.
Yes. So what is this ego? If you want to see what is this ego, the ego is the identity of the mind. The ego is nothing but the identity of mind. And if you take according to psychoanalysis by Sigmund Freud, you have id, ego and superego. So id is something at the subconscious level.
Yeah.
So id, you can say the id is the body, the hair standing or a bodily reaction. This is the id. So it's the primordial basic instinct. Okay. It is governed by the parasympathetic nervous system. So the ego, where is your ego? The ego is the emotional part which is in the limbic system. Your limbic, which is the seat of all emotions. And your superego is your neocortex. The neocortex is all the learning. So Ravana's neocortex says, I am Ilangeshwaran. I have done this, I have done that, I have learned so many things. That is his super ego.
Yes, sir.
And his emotions are his emotions to how he has controlled the Navagrahas and everything. All his emotions, all his Jnanendriyas put together. And his id, if you look at his id, it is totally, he's an asura. So his body is strong. His body can, even if you chop off a head, another head can come.
Yeah.
So you can imagine he's an id of ids. So all the gunas are at its maximum. Tamo guna, rajo guna, and even Ravanan has sattva guna also is at its maximum. All the trigunas are at its maximum. Okay.
Yes,
and so actually he doesn't need it. See, anything that is already hot and about to go into flames just needs a whiff of breath and it will catch up. So that's all Surpanaga had to do it. So it was already seething. Unlike what Guni did to Kaikeyi, it was not just a one-day interaction. She went on into a process of bringing over here. And there is also another version of the story where everything is going on fine. So the Devalokam, they said, it's all going on fine. The other Devas, we should do something. So there's a version of story. There's a story from the other Vijayanagaram side where they say the Devas came in and taking the help from Saraswati Ma. Okay, they took the help from Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to come and create the confusion over here. So the confusion was created in Mandira's mind. Otherwise, she was, it happened it was built up over a period of time.
Yeah.
So she used her influence on Kaikeyi. So it was all nicely, managed, stayed, played by certain energies around that place because they wanted Rama to be banished.
Yes, sir.
Then only the confrontation can happen. So this is how it goes.
This is completely a different narrative I have heard so far. And I am sure many would have heard or will be hearing this for the first time.
So to conclude, the seed is not the ego. The ego itself is the seed. And there are many seeds. There are many seeds.
It's a combination.
Yeah. So it's a combination. So one seed joining with another seed. It is like, that's what happens.
Amazing, sir. So I had got the clarity for this question. I really hope you would also have understood it. If you have any thought or totally deflect our point, you can put down in our comments. We'll be taking it.
And more, we are trying to get some guests also.
Yeah.
So I think there's a podcast on Hanuman and we want to get some guests. We had Shanky Shaw. Shanky Shaw. And we are glad that you said, watching. And I was joking. I said, let me put a disguise and come and sit. No. So we are looking for, we are on the lookout. So anyone who sees this podcast who would like to participate also, please DM us or put the comments.
Also, if you know any guests, do recommend in our comments.
Yes, we'll be happy to invite them also.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Jai Gurudev.